Once you've inserted images or illustrations into your documents, you can then manipulate them, move them around, have text wrap around them a certain way, maybe focus on a part of your image by cropping it. These are the things we're going to do as we continue working with our No Media Campaign document here. And if you've jumped to this lesson, you can get caught up by opening up No Media Campaign 2. So we already have our images. When we inserted our shape, it automatically showed up right on top of some of our other content, and we just moved it around. By clicking, you select the image and you know it's selected by the handles that appear around the outside. Here is where we go to do things like size, drag it around from the center to move it, and if we move this up into our paragraph, look what happens, we can't read. That's because of the text wrapping that's set by default in shapes that we draw. We can adjust that by going to this little icon that appears off to the right, our layout options. It saves us going to the Format tab on the ribbon. We'll just click that and you'll see this one is highlighted over here, which is in front of text. Now if we don't want text to be covered up by an image, we can change how it wraps. It could be in line with text. Selecting this option makes it just like any other character in your paragraph, so as you add or remove content, it moves around with the paragraph. That's not going to be ideal, but we might want text to wrap around it. It could be in a square, it could be tight. We'll actually wrap around the shape of our image, not the shape of the rectangle that we see when it's selected. Or we could go right through it. Again, it might be difficult to read our content. Maybe text should only appear above or below. That's top and bottom. Here we have behind text. Well, at least we'd be able to see our text, but it still might be difficult to read. The one that's already selected, as you can see, is in front of text. We could also have it move with our text, which is a default, or have it fixed right on the page wherever we place it. Or maybe we want it up here towards the left side, and maybe we want our text to wrap around it. So we'll click that icon once again. Let's try this one here. Now you can see that the text is. It's actually wrapping around the shape. It's going inside the borders of our selection handles. Let's try square, that might be more appropriate. And maybe we want to make sure it stays right there on the page, whether we add or remove content. We'll choose fixed position on page. Click anywhere on the page itself to see the end result. It's pretty good. Same thing goes for these images. When we select them, we see the same icon. When we click it though, you'll notice that the default for images we insert is a little bit different than shapes we draw. It's in line with text, meaning it's going to be treated just like any other character. As we start typing, it's going to be pushed down along with the paragraph, and it will be part of that paragraph. So if we reach the end of the page and run out of space, it gets moved down with the rest of the paragraph. So if we wanted to, we could choose different text wrapping options, just like we did for our shape. Let's go with square and fix it onto the page. And let's go down now to our second graphic. And if we want to move this, as soon as we try to move it again, we can't, because it is being treated like text. So we go to our icon, we can choose a text wrapping option. I'm going to go with square again. Notice now that we have some text coming up from below. Now we can move this around actually. You can see what's happening. We can move them both around. We can center. When we see that guideline appear, we know it's going to be centered right there. Let's drag this one down, centered as well, and notice the wrapping doesn't really work out well for these two graphics. So let's select one, the top one, and hold down your Shift key and select the second one. Now we can apply changes to both at the same time. We don't see the icon because we've selected both. But we can go to the Format tab with our picture tools. And here is where we can choose things like the position, or text wrapping. And this is a position on the page, and you can see as we hover over them a real-time preview. I don't think that's what we want text wrapping, and in this case we want it to be top and bottom. So let's select that. We choose top and bottom, and as we scroll down you can see that it doesn't quite fit on the page. So we can drag that second one up and watch what happens to the text when we move it. We just drag it up to page 1. They're both still selected and will release right above there after the first paragraph. Again, we might want to have it centered, so when you see that guideline, release, and that looks a little bit better. At least it's on the page, so now we might want to do some things like change the size of the images. So everything fits on one page and we're not losing that paragraph at the bottom. Let's just click off to the side to deselect, click the first one, and I'm going to size it down even further. Center it, we could do that because of the text wrapping we choose. Size this one down as well. You can see the text down below is moving up as we move that up and center it. And now everything fits on one page. We'll deselect. There we go. Alright. This one here, we're seeing a little bit too much. We can crop it. Let's double click this image to get the Format tab showing up. And from here we're going to be looking for the cropping tool. Cropping tool typically looks the same in every program. It's got this little icon here for cropping. When we click the drop down, we can crop to a shape. Aspect ratio can be maintained. And if we want to, we could just select crop, which gives us new handles, so we can pick and choose what's going to appear in this image. I'm going to take out a little bit from the left, so when my mouse pointer changes from the four-sided arrow to the handle, we can move it and take out that portion. Take out that portion. I can bring it down from the top as well. I really want to bring it from the bottom though, and when I have exactly what I want, all I have to do is click outside the image and it's been cropped. So that's not just sizing it, it is actually removing parts. Let's move this up a little bit higher, and now we have a good looking first page to our document. Of course, there is a lot more we can do with images in the way of design and special effects, and that's all coming up as we move through the upcoming movies in this chapter.